We have a great crowd in here this morning. Glad to see everyone. I'm Marty Marin, and this is my wife, Michelle, and we manage Trio Maryland. We'd like to welcome all of our members today and guests, and thank you for attending. Today's topic's really exciting. It is called Called to Care. It's about key practices and resources to assist family caregivers. We will not be having a meeting in December. I just wanted to mention it now. We won't have our next meeting till January, but we'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a great holiday. We hope you get everything that you want, and I hope that you have a chance to spend some time with your families.
Hi, good morning. Today, we're very lucky. Our guest speakers are Linda Stewart, MPA Masters of Public Administration, and the Caregiver Program Manager at Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Center. Welcome, Linda. And we also have Jose Jimenez, Family Caregivers Program Manager, Community Services at the Division of Aging Services in the Baltimore City Health Department. We're really very lucky to have both such educated speakers to help us navigate the caregiver role that so many of us have encountered.
Thank you so much, Marty and Michelle. So I hope everybody can see that. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that, Michelle. All right, great. So we are focusing this month on National Family Caregiving because we recognize and we honor those of you, especially on this call, who are providing care for your loved one. And we recognize that caregiving can be challenging. When you are caring for someone, you have a lot of responsibility. So having this time to share with other caregivers across the country and acknowledge that caregivers play a critical role in the health and healing of their loved ones. This year's theme is Caregiving Happens. And if you can see from the graphic, you see that these caregivers are texting and they're saying, one is a sister and she says, "Hi, can you do dinner? I need to have some fun." And so the caregiver says, "Mom's on my back and I know she's sick, but," and then her sister says, "Well, how about I come over and stay with her and you can get a break and have some fun." So the point is, we don't always know what is going to happen on the caregiving journey. It is often very unpredictable. And so recognizing that with this comes challenges, we want to equip family members to be able to step in as necessary, even though it may be an unexpected situation. So I really like to start with the quote from our First Lady, former First Lady, Rosalynn Carter, because I think she says it best when she talks about the landscape and scope of family caregiving and how universal caregiving is. We don't always think about the role and the job. We just think that we're caring for our husband or wife or a child, but the role is just becoming so much more important. And from the beginning of time, there have been family caregivers. And so Mrs. Carter says there are 4 kinds of people in the world: those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who need caregivers. And Mrs. Carter is the founder of the Rosalynn Carter Institute for Caregivers. And that's a very important organization located in Georgia, where they provide training and information for caregivers. You can go to their website and they have conferences. So She had started this program more than 20 years ago. She's now 95, and she is definitely one of the leaders in the caregiving movement. So caregiving in the U.S. is expanding, it's growing as our population ages. We are going to need more family caregivers. Now, we also need professionals. We need the doctors, the nurses, the techs, the radiologists. We need those healthcare professionals, but we could not do it without the family members. And this document, Caregiving in the U.S., has been, it's a research document done by AARP and the National Alliance of Caregiving. They have teamed up to do research on family caregiving. If you haven't, take a peek at that because it is very enlightening as to the expansive growth of caregiving in the U.S. More than 50 million Americans are providing some type of care to a loved one. And that is has increased 21% from 2015 when the report was done last. The point is, caregiving is only going to grow as our population gets older and we need more care. Family members are going to be called on to do more. This report is also enlightening because it gives us some facts about who caregivers are. They're mainly women, 61%, but 39% are men, which is also a significant number. Caregivers reported that they often feel physically and emotionally drained from caregiving. And close to 40 report their caregiving situations to be stressful. Caregivers often feel alone, unappreciated, overwhelmed, and not knowing where to turn for assistance. So knowing that, we want to address these issues and be prepared. And that's what Jose and I and others do on a day-to-day basis to try to address some of the challenges and really help caregivers find the joy in caring for their loved ones. So what do caregivers need? I've summed it up in an acronym. I call it CARE. And one aspect of my role, my job at Bayview is I receive calls from not only patients and their families, but also others who may surf the web and find call to care. And they call just trying to find out how they can manage their role. One aspect of what I do is just compassionate listening. And if you are a caregiver, you know how important it is to have someone who can give you good advice, to listen to you as you are trying to figure things out for yourself as well as the care recipient. So I validate their feelings and their perspective, which I know is so vital. Also, the acknowledgement, the role of a family caregiver is too often unappreciated. But times like this, when we have National Family Caregiver Month, it gives us an opportunity to just say thank you for what you're doing. It's a vital role, and we don't want to minimize that role. And at the same time, to reassure the caregiver in your family, if you are supporting, a caregiver, a spouse, or someone, to say your own well-being is important and to stay connected to your family, your friends, and your faith community, because these all help to give you the strength you need for the journey. And then the business of equipping, educating. This is so vital. So as a caregiver, making sure you find out about how you can better support yourself and your loved one. The TRIO support group is awesome because you all either have had transplants or you're caring for someone who has had a transplant, or you're a professional and you're supporting the family. So the whole inspiration that comes from knowing that you are doing a great job. And so there are a lot of priority services that I found that are needed. And Jose is going to go into this more, but some of the priority services that I've seen have included, advanced care planning and legal assistance. Many of the caregivers that I support are caring for loved ones with dementia or Alzheimer's disease. And that's a very heavy lift. And so helping them understand the disease, helping them understand where to go to for support. The education and training, as I mentioned, a vital component. And home care assistance is also very, very important. So knowing where to turn, and we're going to give you more details on exactly where you can turn to get reliable information and good customer service. And then respite care, that is also a vital, vital priority service. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jose, and he is going to give you information about some of the government and nonprofit services that are available. Jose?
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for that. Before I begin, I just want to thank Marty and Michelle and the TRIO group for inviting us and to this group and to allow us to be here to provide this information. So we hope that that this information is helpful to you and that you can utilize it to benefit you and your family. So thank you again for inviting us. So I want to begin first with just letting everybody know about the National Family Caregivers Program. This program is available to all of you who are caregivers because it's in every state, every county, not only here in Maryland, but in every state within the United States. This program was established in 2000 under the Older Americans Act of 1965, which is dedicated specifically to help families and informal caregivers who take care of loved ones in their home and don't get paid for it. This program offers those people, those families with services that are available throughout the year to help those caregivers make the care a little bit easier and a little bit more less stressful. So in every county here in Maryland, if you call your Department of Aging and ask for the Family Caregivers Program, you should be able to get in touch with somebody like myself. I am the one who manages the program for the Baltimore City, so I manage the Family Caregivers for the city. But each one of those programs, you will have a manager that will be able to speak to you or a staff member that will speak to you about some of the services that they offer. I'm going to give you an overview of some of the services, and then I'm going to go into detail some of the services that we offer within the city. But it should not be too much off from what some of the other counties and states also offer. So the National Family Caregivers Program offers services for caregivers. The first one is information to caregivers about available service. That means that if you call our office and you are looking to get information about any type of resources, such as adult daycare, maybe assisted living, maybe you need to get enrolled into Medicare or something like that, and you don't know who to talk to, we will be able to provide you, or any of those counties will be able to provide you with information on how to get those services, whether you need food, whether you need anything else that you need. The information is there available. And if they don't know, they will probably make it easier for you to be able to get somebody else to help you, maybe give you what we call a warm handoff, which we know a lot of caregivers get the runaround. So we try not to do that because we know it's already tough on you So we try to make sure that we give you what we call a warm handoff, where the person that you're going to be speaking to, they already know that you are be calling them. And so that way will make the situation and the explanation of your situation a little easier for the person, not to go through all that all over again. The next service, thank you, Linda. The next service that we have is assisting to caregivers in gaining access to services. So this is where we do a little bit more hands-on with the caregiver, where we actually invite you to our office and be able to provide you with what you need. We'll try to, if you have to fill in an application, or if you need to have somebody just explain to you things a little bit better, we will make that time to make sure that you are, you are provided with that information and that assistance. But it's going to be almost like a one-on-one. The next one is counseling, support groups, and caregiver training. Now, all of those services we do a little bit different in each county. For the city, for counseling, we try to refer people to like pro bono counseling services, which is a nonprofit, and they provide free assistance to not only caregivers, for any family member or individual who is looking to get counseling or mental health services. Now, we do have a couple of support groups within the city. Me and Linda actually run one telephone support group, and they are almost like the one that you guys have here at Trio. We do the same thing. We provide assistance, we provide information, we have speakers, anything that we can bring about to help caregivers be better off. And then training throughout the year, we have conferences that we put together. We bring out speakers. Me and Linda work, hand in hand together, trying to make those conferences and make sure that are worth it to people, that people can come in and get information, get resources that are practical, and not just information that really doesn't help you to be better off. So we try to make sure that you get information that is practical, that is applicable, and that you will be able to use in the day-to-day basis when you do provide care to your loved ones. Respite care is another service that we know that caregivers need, and is very important because it allows the caregivers to take a break, to be able to relax and do something on their own for themselves, to be able to come back, pick up the mantle again, and be able to provide better care. And respite is important because, without that, caregivers can be burned out. And we know how important it is for them to be able to refresh themselves again, to be able to come back and provide better care. So, it's not just about the person who is being provided care to, but the caregiver also need to take care of themselves in order for them to be better as a caregiver. And the last thing that we have, which again, all of these services are being provided at any of the counties that you go to if you call your Department of Aging. Supplemental services, which is a grant that we give to loved ones. And I'll go into more detail about the city and how we do that. But each one of the counties gets funding from the federal government that goes through from the Maryland Department of Aging to each one of the counties. And then depending on their grant that they get from the federal government, then they decide how much the supplemental grant will be offered to the family caregivers. And it can range between $200-300 to maybe $500 to $600. It all depends. And again, I'll go into more detail in the next slide, but I'm going to speak more about the city. But again, all of these services, if you go to any Department of Aging, whether it's here in Maryland or outside the state, you should be able to get the Family Caregivers Program. Here is all the counties, including Baltimore City, that have the Family Caregivers Program. As you can see, every county has a Department of Aging, and you will be able to get in touch with them in order for them to help you, or for you to get information about the National Family Caregivers Program. And this slide is going to be provided to you guys. It has all the contact information, so that make it easier for you to be able to contact them. And all you need to do is just call and say, hey, I want to get more information about the Family Caregivers Program. I want to see how they can help me with my loved one and any other information that they might be able to assist with. Next slide, please, Linda. So for respite care, these are some of the different agencies in services that are being offered right now that we know of throughout Maryland. And the first, again, is the National Family Caregivers Program. The National Family Caregivers Program in the city, we provide respite, again, in the form of a grant that we give to caregivers so that they can hire somebody to come into the home and be able to relieve them. It can be a family member, or it can be a professional caregiver from an agency. And basically, you would just try to find out which one of those agencies is the best one for you, and we will do all the paperwork to be able to provide you with a respite grant. Right now, Baltimore City, we are providing a respite grant up to $1,000, and this is to pay somebody else to help you take a break, either an agency or a loved one. It cannot go to you, because we want you to take that break. And so right now, that's how much we are offering. We've been doing that since COVID started. We actually upped the financial assistance because we know that it was tough for a lot of our caregivers who had to go back home to take care of their parents because they were, everything was closed. Another program that offers respite is the Catholic Charities Villa Maria Community Resource Home Care Respite Program. Now, this program is a little bit different because it offers respite, but it offers respite for families and individuals who are providing care to individuals who have mental health, and basically children who have mental health. And this will provide you with some assistance in making sure that your family or your loved one or you yourself will be able to take a break if you are providing care to a child who is 18 years or younger, or an adolescent who has mental health problems. The next one is the Department of Social Services. Department of Social Services, we work hand in hand with the Department of Social Services because they do have a respite reimbursement program where they will reimburse you for any out-of-pocket expenses that you incur for respite services that you request from an agency or a loved one. We actually work with the Department of Social Services because you can take both our grant and their grant and utilize it together to maximize as much as possible the stay and to give you as much as possible the break that you deserve to ensure that you can come back fresh and with energy to be able to continue on providing caregiving tasks. The last one is the Veterans Administration for Caregivers program, the Caregivers program, the VA hospital. They have a respite program, and they also have a caregivers program, but unfortunately, this is only open to VA, personnel, people who have been in the Army, to any other 5 branches, and it allows them to be able to take a break. And yes, somebody just put in the chat that I was reading, up to $500 for the Department of Social Services they can provide you for respite, and that is true. They do provide that amount. The VA does provide respite services to the military personnel. So if you are a military personnel, you didn't know about this, please make sure you reach out to them because they do have a great program and they can help you with getting more services. Now, all of these services, again, you can combine them to maximize your benefits. We don't have an income limit, and I don't believe any of the Department of Social Services also don't have an income limit. There's no need for you to provide any income. I think for us, especially for the city, the only thing is that you have to be a city resident. Now, again, if you don't live in the city, you can contact each one of the counties where you live at, to be able to find out what do they provide and how much is the assistance that they are able to help you with. Next slide, Linda, please. So in terms of financial assistance, again, the National Family Caregivers Program, we offer within the city a grant, a supplemental grant in the form of $550. We were doing $600 last year, but we have to reduce it because the tax code now taxes anybody who receives $600 or more. And this is a free tax grant that we give to family caregivers, meaning you don't have to pay taxes on this gift. It's a gift that we are giving you. And the respite grant is also, now the respite grant, because it's $1,000 and you are using somebody else to be able to come into your home, they will probably have to pay taxes, but I believe it's not much because, but you don't have to pay anything because you are the one receiving the services. But, again, it's not much. In basically most professional caregivers or agency know about this, so that you don't have to worry too much about it. Now, as a caregiver, at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, there are tax breaks and credits that you can deduct from your taxes. I would say, talk to your tax professional and also find out from each one of the state counties to see what taxes and credits you can utilize. But I know they are there because we have other caregivers who have utilized them. And I believe the federal government have made it public. If you search, if you are savvy enough to search on Google, you can probably search tax credits for Baltimore, Maryland, or for Maryland, and you should be able to see some of the different tax. I didn't put them here because it ranges in each county or each state is different, but they are there. The next thing that you can probably utilize as financial assistance is the Social Security Administration Compassionate Allowance. And this allows anybody who has early onset dementia or Alzheimer's to be able to take their Social Security early and without penalty because of the diagnosis of you being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So that means that if you are not at the age of retirement yet, but your loved one has Alzheimer's, you should be able to submit an application so that they can give you your Social Security early without any penalty, and you should be able to utilize that to help you with the care that you provide to your loved one. And the last one is, again, the Alzheimer's Association. They do have respite funds. I know here in Baltimore City, we work with the Maryland chapter, which is in Timonium. And we, again, work hand in hand because we try to maximize as much as possible the funds to give you more benefits. So all of these can be combined together to increase your benefits as a caregiver. But the Alzheimer's Association does have a respite fund. I would say just call your local chapter and find out what it is that they offer and how you can apply for it so that you can benefit from that. So these are some of the different places that we have put together in terms of where you can go as a caregiver to get help and support. The Alzheimer's Association, again, of Greater Maryland, has a great website. They have a 1-800 telephone line that you can access 24/7 if you have somebody or a loved one with Alzheimer's and you're having issues. We know that Alzheimer's is not an easy disease, especially when your loved one has different behavior problems. And if you need to talk to somebody to try to figure that out, the Alzheimer's Association Greater Maryland chapter 1-800 number, they can be available for you to be able to have somebody to talk through the different things that you can do to help you with that, whatever that situation might be. Grillcrest Services, they offer, Grillcrest, I believe, is a hospice service. They do offer caregiver support as you go through, that situation of getting your loved one into hospice, either at home or in the hospital or wherever you might need the help. I believe they do have a Maryland office here in Baltimore City, so that's another good place to utilize. And I believe hospice care. A lot of people don't utilize hospice care. It's free. You don't have to do much. You can get a lot of services from hospice without having to really do too much. They all provide you with everything that you need in order for you to be comfortable, not only for the person, but also for the family. The Maryland Legal Aid, Maryland Volunteer Law Services is a nonprofit program that helps individuals who have legal issues, especially older adults who might have legal problems. They can provide you with a lawyer that can help you navigate through whatever the issue might be. We use them all the time. They also provide services for state and wills. If you need to get that together, as we know, caregivers sometimes do not take the necessary step to make sure that they have those legal documents in place to make the transition later, a lot easier when you have to start putting legal documents together. So Maryland Legal Aid can help you with that if you ever need that type of assistance. And again, pro bono counseling services provide free counseling services to those who need it. Mental health is one of the bigger things nowadays that has come up a lot throughout the pandemic, as needing some of the services that are needed. And so pro bono is one of those nonprofit that offer you the chance to have a professional counselor to talk to you about whatever it is that you might be going through, to help you decipher and help you with whatever it is that is causing you stress in your life. Maryland and Family Caregiver Support Programs. Again, we have a lot of different support programs throughout the city and throughout Maryland. Each one of those counties that I mentioned in the other list, they have support groups, so you can join any of them. You have a list that can help you find if you want to do it face-to-face. A lot of them are providing telephone support groups, and they can give you and help you in finding those support groups that are needed. And if you don't have one, I would say please go ahead and find one, because you will see the difference to be able to speak to somebody who's going through the same thing that you're going through, and you can relate. And one of the things that I love about support groups is that while you are there, you can create what we call a natural support group, a natural support system, where the person that you're talking to, you guys can come together to be able to support each other. Maybe coming to the house, or taking a break here, or maybe just calling the person to say, hey, how you doing? And those kind of things do matter. They might seem minute and small, but calling somebody and speaking to them over the phone just to say hi makes a big difference to people. And of course, our MAP line, every county that I mentioned at the Department of Aging has a Maryland Access program, and this is where you can get information about anything that is related to older adults in the county or in the city. So if you're looking for, again, health services, if you're looking for food services, if you're looking for, just anything that can be related to helping older adults, the Maryland MAP line can help you find it. And if they don't, they will probably, try to steer you to the right location so you can get the help that you need. Next slide, Linda, please. So I believe this is you, Linda.
Yes, so thank you, Jose. So I'm hoping that those of you who are on the Zoom this information is resonating with you for you yourself or a family member or neighbor, that this is very practical and accessible information to use in the caregiving journey. I wanted to, as we start to, conclude before our discussion, I wanted to tell you about Call to Care, which is the program that I've managed for the last 7 years. And it was especially designed for family caregivers, for our patients at Bayview and their loved ones, but we serve the entire community. So anyone can call to Care and will immediately get a response. And we've been providing about 4,000 people on average a year in the last 5 years through these services that you see: the outreach, the supportive resources, the education, training to faith leaders. And these services, I think, have been extremely beneficial from what I have heard. So if at any point you are in just need of general information, Call to Care. And we are called Call to Care because we believe caregiving is a calling. I mean, it's a special role and a special attitude to be a caregiver. But we also recognize that you need to know where to call and how to get information. And so we're trying to streamline things and make it easier and connect the dots for caregivers so they're not dealing with the challenges of where to call. We work with partners, and Jose has mentioned some of those partners. He's highlighted some of those. These are the partner lists, as you see, from AARP to the Veterans Administration Caregiving Program. There are more than 30 partners that we're able to provide, as Jose said, that warm handoff, that they know that they are in place to support caregivers who may call. And so you see that covers a wide range of services, from legal to respite to training to support groups. And if you go to the Call to Care website, it's very easy to click on the organizations. These are all nonprofit and government agencies, to click on and get the direct contact number. So again, our goal is to make caregiving more supportive, to make it more available for services. And when I started out telling you about the challenges that many caregivers have reported, we want to help meet those challenges. That's why we're here today. So here are a few more organizations nationally. I thought it was good to highlight, including AARP. They have excellent online resources that you can simply go to their website, and they have a whole caregiving component. They have online chats, they have online support groups, as well as videos that you can look at. Very uplifting, very informative. The Caregiver Action Network is also another large national organization to go for general information, and then they connect you with local and state partners. The Caregiver Teleconnection, many people don't know about this, but this organization is out of Texas, and everything is on the telephone. We realize that not everybody is technology savvy. So with that in mind, the Caregiver Teleconnection does everything by telephone. And so you simply dial in and you can hear speakers who are talking about all different kinds of caregiving related concerns and resources. And then finally, the Family Caregiver Alliance, which is the group that does a lot of not only resources, but they do policy and help us really be better advocates. So even many have been caregivers, and they can use all of the experience and the knowledge to bring it to bear to enhance the journeys of other caregivers. And we need more policy that will support those families who are caregiving, whether it be time off to do caregiving, like the family medical leave, which is a policy that has been in place for workers to retain their jobs. And if they need to be out caregiving for a loved one, they know their job is secure. Those kinds of policies are vital, as well as I know President Biden is working on some caregiving policies. So as we start to conclude, I want to leave you with some goals that we encourage you to pursue. One is taking care of yourself. As a caregiver, we know you're going to take care of your loved one, but you are primary in this equation to take care of yourself. We want to remind you to make it a point to stay connected to family, friends, and your faith if you are a person of faith. These are all supportive groups that help you get through caregiving experiences that are often very challenging. Being knowledgeable about the resources and to take training opportunities to learn more about, especially as someone is having a transplant, there's a lot to learn. And don't minimize the importance of learning about the disease, about the transplant process, and learning about those professionals that are available to help educate you. Prioritize your challenges and troubleshoot issues. This is where Jose and I and other professionals can be helpful to help you prioritize those challenges. And then to make the circle complete, becoming an advocate for yourself and your loved one. So keep those goals in mind. So Jose, do we want to take some comments and questions and kind of open up, give people an opportunity to open up a bit?
Yeah, I think we can allow we can open it up for question and answers, and we can just follow along with the discussion that way, and then we'll continue. I know there was a couple of questions on the chat. Maybe we can start with those, and then anybody else who has any questions.
Great. I don't know if everyone saw in the chat feature that Patty Dash, the executive director of the National Kidney Foundation in Maryland and Delaware, also posted a resource that they have a program for kidney patients on dialysis plus pre-post kidney transplant. It's called the Patient Emergency Assistance Program. It offers assistance with things like I lost my part there, like transportation, to and from dialysis, if you need medical equipment, food, rent, utilities, assistance, on and on. So if you need this type of financial assistance, you can contact Patty Dash. Her information is in the chat feature. Please check it. An application for this assistance needs to be presented by your social worker or someone on your medical team. So, and I think there's another question down further, Jose and Linda, about VS is taking care of her husband who has dementia. And she's been trying to get the community outreach waiver for 2 years.
Yeah.
Is there some help maybe, or how does she get this approval? If anyone can answer that.
So I have a little bit of experience with the community action waiver because it's one of the services that we offer at the Department of Aging, and it's actually in every county too. The thing with this program is that it's like almost like a hot commodity, and everybody wants to get in, but the line or the wait is so long in order for you to get in because there's so many people applying for it that it takes forever to apply for it. I know when I used to work for Anne Arundel County, one of the things that allowed people to kind of jump to the front of the line was that if you were in a nursing home and you apply for the program while you are still in the nursing home, then they will put you to the beginning, to the front of the line, so that when you get out of the nursing home, you will be able to get those services in place at your house to get you started. Now, other than that, I don't know of any other way to kind of expedite the approval of this program because of so many people applying for it, and there's a high demand for it. I wish I can give you more, but I know this program does provide really good services. But once you are in, but to get in is really a hassle, and it really takes a long time. I'm sorry I can't give you more than that. What I'll do is I will speak to my counterpart at the Department of Aging where I work, who heads the waiver program, to see if there's anything new regarding the approval process to get people in. And if there is, then I will share with Marty and the rest of you to be able to share with the group, so that Michelle and Marty can share with everybody else. But again, I'm sorry I can't give you more of that, but that's about it. I don't know if Linda has any info on that. You can chime in, please.
I don't have any more information on that. I do know, Valerie, it's a challenging time, but there are other resources that maybe we can assist you with while you're waiting. So if we can get your information, then we can follow up with you directly. So I realize that some of the government programs, they have waiting lists. But that's why we look for other opportunities and see what else can be helpful. She's in Cecil County, so that'll be good. So maybe. Okay.
So I would say, try to get in touch with your family caregivers program to see if they have any financial assistance that you can, take advantage of. If you were in the city, I would say, just call me and I will probably help you with trying to get you what we offer. But yeah, the Cecil County Department of Aging should be able to hopefully give you some assistance when it comes to financial relief. It's probably not going to be much, but every little bit helps. I know it's tough and I know it takes a lot. Out of pocket expensive to take care of somebody in the home. I know it's just, it goes through the roof. So I know what you're going through, and I'm really sorry that I don't have anything else to really offer you to relieve of some of that stress that is causing you right now. But I'll find out from my counterpart and see if there's anything that we can share with the group regarding the community options waiver to help you out.
Well, it's good news. She said that she has received $500 reimbursement, so that's great. We see she's definitely reaching out. Are there other comments, questions about I don't know how many on the Zoom are caring, for loved ones, but we again want to say thank you so much for the role you're playing. And somebody says, what is the best way to advocate for paid FMLA? She took off 8 months of absence when somebody became critically ill and ended up having double lung transplant. The company held the position for her. even after 3 months legally required, but it sure would have been nice to have some income. Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's very hard, the financial support in these situations when you're caring for loved ones. It's can be a laborious process and time consuming. It's very hard. Johns Hopkins Hospital, if you are in the transplant department and you need some help with non-medical expenses, they do have a Stepping Stones Foundation that you can contact that does try to assist with some of those financial situations that are non-medical. So you can always contact them or send Trio Maryland an email, and I can forward your email on to Stepping Stones to see if they can help you with some of those transplant related costs. Is there any assistance with prescription medications other than Social Security? I don't know, Linda or Jose.
Yeah, that's a good question. There was a time I believe we had something that we were offering to some of our older adults, but I don't believe there's nothing right now that I can I can think of. I'll find out if there is. Usually the Department of Aging, Maryland Department of Aging, will have some kind of funding where they will divvy it out to some of the other counties to be able to help with that. But I know that's another big problem that we have because they keep going up. And yet a lot of our older adults and family caregivers are in fixed income or, are struggling just to be able to, to stay afloat and providing care to a loved one and then having to, of course, juggle all the other things that come with it makes it really, really tough on them. I did see that somebody said something about family caregiver support programs, particularly seem to be focused on services the aging. Okay, so yeah, well, the thing is with the family caregivers program, because it's coming from it's coming from the federal government, and then it kind of flows down from the Maryland Department of Aging into the local jurisdiction, wherever you may be, Baltimore City, Cecil County. Because it's from the Department of Aging, a lot of the requirements will have to be met when it comes to the caregiver being, now the caregiving can be any age, but the recipient or the person that they're providing care to has to be at least, I believe, 55 years or older in order for them to be provided with help. Another thing that I failed to mention during my presentation is that the Family Caregivers Program also helps grandparents who are raising their grandkids 18 years or younger, and they provide the same services that I mentioned during my presentation to grandparents raising their grandkids. You are all relative caregivers. So if you are a relative caregiver providing care to a child who is 18 years or younger, you will be able to get assistance from the Family Caregivers Program. Now, not every county has help for grandparents raising their grandkids. In the city, we do, but it all depends on the jurisdiction and how many grandparents live in that particular county. I know that a lot of the counties don't have it, but if you do, and if you are interested in that, you can request information about what they do offer for grandparents raising their grandkids. But yeah, for the Department of Aging, because of the we focus on aging, like you said, I believe the age has to be 55 years or older for the person who is now. But if you are disabled, if you are a caregiver who is providing care to a person who is disabled, you can apply. You will be able to get the assistance that you need. So the age is not the only thing that is required if you meet some of the other criteria.
We do have a comment from Joel and Judy that Joel was on dialysis for a year before he got his kidney transplant. Thank you, Johns Hopkins, and thank you to his deceased donor. After 11 years, he's still doing wonderful, and he's 83. Hey, congratulations. Recently, he's meeting new challenges with his heart, and Judy's been feeling really overwhelmed. I just realized about 2 months ago, I'm not only his wife, but I'm also his caregiver. So this webinar is very important to me. Thank you. I took notes and we'll be looking into what my state of Florida offers. So that's great. Someone else, Jean, saying that her daughter's 26. She needed a transplant there in Michigan, but the Department of Aging is actually a resource maybe that they can take advantage of. As far as medications go, I know sometimes the actual manufacturer of your medication offers programs.
Yes.
You can go online to their website and check into that. That's not always the case, but it is something worth investigating. And your pharmacy might be able to tell you if some of those options are available on the medications that you take.
I also believe there's some kind of discount card, almost like, you having a AARP card where you can go to the pharmacy and they'll give you like a 10 or 20% off or whatever that medication is. I can't remember the name, but I've seen the commercial for it. That might be another avenue to see if you can kind of reduce some of the. Yes, Good RX is called. Yes, thank you, Patty, for that. Yes, and hopefully that can kind of help you reduce some of the high cost of your medication. I know it's ridiculous. I mean, without insurance, you basically end up being bankrupt if you try to go and try to pay for that stuff out of pocket. So I know how difficult it is and how tough it is. So if I see anything, if I talk to anybody within the department about any of those resources, I would making sure that I would share with you guys.
So Michelle and Marty, we'd like to just have our contact information here so you can, everybody can see that. Let's see, I'll put that back up so people will know where to reach us.
Perfect.
So you can reach Jose and me at, you'll get these slides. So please feel free to reach out to us. We will do our very, very best to help guide you. We may not have all the answers, but we certainly are a very resourceful team and can point you in the right direction. You've got the numbers of MAP and some of the other hotlines that are also very, very helpful. So we wanted to conclude with a thank you video. Do you want to say a few closing words, Michelle and Artie, or should we show it now? You tell us what.
Sure, please go ahead and show it now, and then we'll say goodbye after the video.
Okay, all right then. And again, happy Caregiver Month, and thank you to all of the family members who are taking great care of their loved ones, and we want you to take care of yourself. So this video will just highlight, again, the power of caregiving. I think one of the comments was a wife said she didn't even recognize herself as a caregiver. She was just a wife doing her job, but the role is extremely, extremely important, very valuable. And so I want to say thank you so much.
Okay. Okay.
He said, she said,
Holy moly.
Yeah, you can come back, put a little.
Okay. Better than mine.
Keep your hands up.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay, flip. There you go.
Thank you, Linda and Jose. That was super. I did want to add one thing for anyone that's on Medicare. Remember, it's open enrollment. You have the opportunity to go and check your drug program to see if there's a better option for you. You can do it online, or you can call the Medicare number and they will actually go through it with you. You tell them the medications you're on and they can help you source maybe a better option for you to have your costs be lower. But again, Linda Stewart from Johns Hopkins Bayview and Jose Jimenez from the city, thank you so much for your time and a wonderful presentation.
I want to thank everyone that was on the call today. It was great seeing everyone. I thought it was a great topic. I want to remind everyone to check out our events page on our website for advance notices of our future meetings. I'd like you to check out our website at www.triomaryland.org. And all of our past meetings are posted to our YouTube channel for your convenience. And last but not least, we want to wish everyone a safe and healthy holiday season.
Great seeing some nice friendly faces and some new faces, Linda and Jose.
It was great meeting you guys, and
Have
thank
a
you for
great
helping us.
Weekend. Enjoy this beautiful day, everyone, and we'll see you sometime in the future.
Thanks
Thank you,
again,
everyone.
Brandon.